everybody. Welcome to vlog number 4. So, like I said last time, we're getting into it. Yeah. So, let's talk about this contractor.
Hey y'all. So I had to get some support with building the trailer out because I was unable to do it all by myself. I had to learn that you can't do everything all by yourself. You have to ask for support when you need it. So I hired myself a contractor. He took Soul and he's been working on him for a couple of weeks now. And so we are doing it in a 2-part series.
This is him taking Soul
Bye,
away.
soul. See you next time, honey bun. Bye.
I was so sad. I was so sad. But it was more my pride. I was really sad that I wasn't able to do all of the work by myself. But I knew that I needed to hire somebody, especially for the electrical work, because it's one thing to do electrical if the electrical is already put into the system. Like, let's say you're just doing a couple of like renovational pieces. But I, as you can see here, had ripped out everything. So it had to be completely planned and rewired. And so I created plans for the plumbing and the electrical, and I got started on figuring out what I would need. But I just thought it was a little too much for me to do the electrical work by myself. I think that you definitely need a professional if you're doing it a complete rewire and you're setting it up like I am. I set mine up for shore power to a house, shore power to state park or RV park. And also I will be getting batteries and solar panels. And so with all of that, I didn't want to jerry rig that. I wanted to make sure that it was professional, seeing as this is my home and I will be traveling in here for quite some time. I need to make sure that nothing would start a fire, because a fire in a very small space like this would destroy everything in a heartbeat. So I knew I needed to find a contractor that would help me to be able to get at least the electrical in. As you can see here, he did put in quite a bit of framing along the ceiling. Compared to last week, there was no framing on the ceiling. There was very little framing along the perimeter of the trailer at all. But he did add in the framing above a couple of the windows and on the ceiling there. So that was really exciting for me to see the framing coming back together. He really, within like a week's time, he started throwing what you see here, like little pieces of insulation. We'll show you later on in the vlog. The insulation is supposed to be very thick. So there's supposed to be as many layers of insulation to get from the top of the metal ceiling that you see here to the pretty much the bottom of the wood stud. And then you tape the insulation onto the wood stud with an insulation tape to help seal that barrier in. It keeps water, mold, mildew, all of those things out from beyond the insulation barrier. So he didn't quite do that. As you can see, he just put the insulation in, I guess, one layer, and then he started covering it up with drywall. One thing that's really interesting about mobile units is drywall is not mobile friendly. If you ever held onto drywall before, or like put it on a hard surface and pressed down on it or moved it a little, you can see it starts to crumble. And so people do not recommend using drywall inside of units like this. They recommend using like a vinyl board, maybe plywood, or something that's a little bit more giving and friendly on the roads and on the bumps that you're going to be doing and you're going to be encountering along your travels. So I didn't know that until starting to go dive deeper myself, but he did put this drywall up at first. Here's a few more images of the work that he attempted to do. So like I said, he only put partial insulation on there. The picture on the left is my shower area. The picture in the middle is one of the main walls behind the shower space. Then on the top right corner is the electrical box, the junction box at the time. there are a lot of switches and a lot of different pieces that weren't necessary in this build. It was kind of a retrofit when I first bought it as well. So we basically threw this junction box out and got a completely new one. And then the bottom right side is when he got through the insulating, and he hadn't wired anything up, but he did start putting the drywall in. So it was a pretty strange construction schedule, but for someone that didn't know what the heck was going on, I was really excited to see these pictures. So we started getting really close to time for me to come pick up Soul. I believe this was about a 3-month long process. So once we got to the 3rd week, he was sending me images like this. So I was seeing the walls completely covered up, and I was starting to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be able to move in no time. Not knowing there's no electrical behind those walls, there's no insulation, and it's barely framed. So everything may look nice, but you really need to make sure you're there along the process every step of the way when you're doing something like this. If you're not working with someone that you know that is a professional, or somebody that you've seen their work before and spoken with their past clients, you really have to make sure you're following up every step of the way to make sure that this doesn't happen to you. Okay? Well, y'all, I got the trailer. It's fucked up still. I spent over $10,000 to get this trailer fixed, and now nothing has been done. So I have to pack my bags and leave because my lease is up. So I am headed to North Carolina today. That's my first trip, first travel. Wish me luck. So yes, after I finished paying him all this cash to get everything done, he had gotten strange pieces like this huge kitchen cabinet set you see here that wouldn't fit anywhere within this trailer. He covered up the floors without insulating them. There were holes and stuff all in the floor, and he covered them up with this really nice vinyl flooring. And so it was a trick. So it was a trick. I got it. I started digging into it once I got back to Charlotte, which I'll talk about in the next vlog. But this one, I basically just came in and I saw it looking like this. There was trash and stuff, as you can see in the left picture. There's like trash and stuff in the shower area that was supposed to be completed already. So it was a lot. I actually had finished my lease up at the house I was at, and I was going to move directly into this unit. So basically, I had to move my stuff out of my home into this half-done unit and start traveling. So we will talk about that next time. But this is what the build looked like on the inside. It was a wreck. So this is some more views of it. As you can see, he pretty much just cut up everything. He didn't cover anything at all. Yeah, we'll just take a moment for Soul because it was really rough. When I opened it up, I was just like, wow, there were like Brillo papers and cigarette butts and stuff all in here. And it was just like, what kind of party? But yeah, so this is what it looked like. Nothing in here ran. He actually cut the exterior lights as well. So when I was driving across Appalachia from here to Charlotte, I almost got ran off the road because I didn't have my lights. But hey, this is what it looked like. I had to literally pack all of my belongings inside of the trailer and hitch it to my car, and that's how the journey began. So yeah, this is what it looks like. I think a lot of people during the build out process, during the places that they're not so proud of, they don't really like to show that stuff online. They really like to show the perfect process of how everything went, but that is not how this stuff works. It's very fluid, and it really depends on the time and the space of everything that's happening. So this is what I had to do. I had to drive elsewhere so I could stay there and start working on the build a bit. But yeah, this is what we've got for vlog number 4. And the next vlog, I'm going to be talking about how I got to Charlotte, how I started digging into the trailer, and then we really start getting into the DIY work that I did. And I'm super, super excited to show you all that. So thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you next week.